unrighteous decrees.
And that right grievousness which they have prescribed.
Now, what are nations doing today? What are governments doing today? They're making laws of unrighteousness. Laws that not only allow unrighteousness, they prescribe unrighteousness. And what is the very first word that's said in this verse? Woe. It's a warning. You may not feel it. Some of them don't even believe global warming. You may not see it. You may not think it will ever happen. But don't ever say that you weren't warned. I'm warning you now. People have been warning you since a long time ago. So when it comes to face him in that throne, and you try to say, well, I didn't know. No one ever told me that. Well, you just condemn yourself by lying again. Because that's impossible. If you really want to know, you don't need anyone to tell you, first and foremost. You can go in the world yourself. It says in verse 2, to keep the needy back from right ruling, and to take what is right from the poor of my people. You know, I find it funny how in the world, the wealth gap between the richest and the poorest just keep rising. And you know, they love that. You know how I know they love that? Because they make world records saying, oh, Bill Gates is the second person to be 100 billion up in wealth. I'm like, that's a record. They adore that record. They want the rich to get richer. People may not see it, but to have an award to be the richest man on earth, that means you're encouraging that. And at the same time, you're going to turn around, oh, that shouldn't be happening. They should be donating their money. Then why do you give them an award in the first place? Huh? Why do you structure your economy to feed off the back of the poor people to get more money for the wealth? And Isaiah 2 is saying, you're taking what is right for the poor of my people. You're taking from them instead of giving to them. When Yeshua said, when there was, I forgot the verse or the exact story, but when there's a man, right? And he's sitting in front of Yeshua and he said, well, Master, I did this and this and this in your name. Did that in your name. And when Yeshua says, I forget, something along the lines of, yes, depart, I never knew you. But when Yeshua comes to this person and says, this man did this for me. He fed the poor. He took care of the widow and the orphans. And when the man says, oh, Master, when did I ever do that? When you do this, the least of my brethren, you've done it unto me. So really, what other people are doing when they're taking the what is right for the poor of Almighty Yah, they're taking from Almighty Yah. Instead of giving to the right of the poor or Almighty Yah, they're taking it away. And they think that's a good thing. Or at least they say outwardly that it's not a good thing. But what are their actions and thoughts really show? The poor of my people, the widows become their prey. Orphans their plunder. That's been going on in eons and eons of history. Those who can't stand up for themselves are always the ones taking advantage of. Why is that? Instead of the strong bearing the infirmities of the weak, the strong is left trampling on the weak. Now imagine, as the mightiest one, as the mighty one, if that same attitude is applied to Almighty Yah, to us. that instead of bearing us, he tramples on us. Because we know we're weak. We know without him we're nothing. So since if we apply that human idea, that human practice of trampling on the weak, even though our mouths say that's not good, then we would have been gone a long time ago. But you know what? That's coming soon. It's been prophesied, right? That Almighty Yah is not going to hold his anger anymore. People are giving him more and more reason to come sooner, just so he can unleash his wrath. Just so he can let it all out. And people are blind to it. It's not a thing that we should be laughing at. It's not a thing that we should be smiling at. It's a very sad thing. That should light up a fire in us to reach out to them, to beg them to see what they're doing. Because it's our job, it's our responsibility, because he chose us to be his children. Now remember, we both agreed already that we do not deserve it, right? So since we do not deserve it, then whatever mission we are given, we're supposed to do it. Now, do you know of the Japanese culture? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's not just the Japanese. But when someone saves your life, and you're about to die and someone saves your life, you owe that person the rest of your life. The rest of your life. It doesn't matter if you have a family or not. What you do is you take your family and you bring it to where that person that saved you is. Because you will serve them for the rest of your life. Now, who saved you? Huh? Now, are you serving the one who saved you? Are you really serving him, or are you serving yourself? You know, that's a question I ask myself pretty much every day. Am I serving him by going to these classes? Am I serving him by fellowshipping with these people? It's a real question. Because sometimes, if we don't ask ourselves that, we get complacent. We get complacent in thinking we're doing the right thing, and we're heading the wrong way. And we may think that only applies to us, but that applies to everyone, whether you're in the Word or you're in the world. Because the world thinks they're heading the right way. They honestly think they do. Their pastors tell them they're heading the right way. Their pastors tell them, just confess to me, hand your little tithes, and we'll pray about it. And then you're done. You can go back again next weekend. That's how they roll. They think they're doing the right thing. They pick and choose what they want to do. They pick and choose what is right and act on that choosing. So what are they doing? They're acting on their own righteousness. And what is our own righteousness to Almighty Yah? Filthy rags. Filthy rags. Now, you know, when my mom gives me a cloth to clean something and she gives me a rag and she tells me it's clean, I don't want to touch it. Just because she said it's a rag and it looks like a rag. Now, how much more is a filthy rag? Huh? Yet, that is what people keep using. Their own righteousness. They make a decision. They don't go to the Word for search for an answer. No. They sit on it, ask their friends who are as ignorant as them, and they make their decision. And then they wonder why. Well, why is nothing going wrong? Well, I wonder why nothing's going wrong. Nothing's going right. We can't use our own righteousness and everything and expect everything to come out right. It just doesn't work that way. And it's very sad that people do not see this. But what are we doing to show them, huh? Because I can't keep talking about them and not us. I'm here. The word is here for those who will listen, correct? And we are listening. So what are we doing to show them? Are we doing anything to show them? Because it's our job. It really is. You know, I asked the Father, just give me something. I want to be out there all the time. But something inside me tells me, not yet. Not yet. And I agree, because I'm not ready. I know for myself I'm not ready yet. As much as I feel like I want to, I'm not ready. I haven't even read the whole book back and front yet. So, as much as we want to sometimes, or as much as we think we ought to because we're missing something, you have to ask yourselves, are you ready? Because you can't go out there thinking you can save somebody when you're not even sure yourself if you are saved. The blind leading the blind, right? In verse 3 it says, what shall you do in the day of visitation? Those who make unrighteous inscriptions and writers who prescribe. So what will you do in the day of visitation, huh? And in the ruin which you comes from afar, to whom would you run for help? Huh? Where would you leave your wealth? Now wealth, I never understand that. So many people strive for wealth. And I mean really strive for it. Like that's the one thing they want in their lives. Like if they don't end up rich at the end of their lives, that they have not done anything. I see it all the time. And I'm just wondering to myself, why? For example, Jeff Bezos is what, $120 billion worth? What is he going to do with that money? I can't even think of what I'm going to do with $1 billion. It's 120. That's all there. I don't see it. I really don't see it. Maybe I'm different. Maybe we're different. But I don't see the desire for wealth. And I think that Almighty meant it for us not to see that desire for wealth, not to understand it. Because if He does give us wealth, it's not for us. It's not for us to want to keep for ourselves. It's not for us to want to hoard for ourselves. It's to give. To whom much is given, much is required. Oh, and trust me, I've been given way too much. Sometimes I cry about it just thinking, Father, how am I going to give back if you just keep on giving to me? How? Because I feel the weight sometimes when all He does is bless me and bless me upon bless me, and I tell everybody I do not deserve this, but I have it. And all I can do right now is just thank Him. All I can do is thank Him for now. But we have to realize sometimes that no matter what we do in life, no matter how high or how much we do, we can never do enough. We can never do enough.